Today I would like to share with you also again from the book Ponder on This, on the new generation, an important topic to understand what is happening in the world right now, why maybe some old forms have to be destroyed so that new forms can take place and humanity can evolve into a higher state of consciousness. And for that we read together The New Generation, page 350. And there are some very interesting ideas which I would hope for you to reflect on and make your own conclusion, how that can help you shape to get a clearer idea of the world view now and the world's happening for yourself and where you belong in those groups. The new generation of young people do not belong to the past and refuse to accept the authority of the past. They do not belong to the inner group of knowers who are working at the task of swinging the thoughts of men into right channels, for they have not reached as yet the point of knowledge. They only recognize two things: their need for freedom and the intense eagerness for knowledge. They despise the tradition of the past. They reject the old formulation of truth because as yet they stand on no sure ground, are barely in the position of seekers and inquirers. We have our present date of 1934, of world upheaval, of apparent license and disruption, which I think it's still a very similar situation in now 2026, that there are many people incarnating with enhanced will of freedom and eagerness for knowledge and a different viewpoint of the past, the old generation. So it should not be forgotten that this world state is therefore a result of clashing of the three types of forces prevalent in the world of today. First, that emanating from the holders with the old tradition, who emphasizes the form and the past, produce the destruction of those forms. Second, the emanating from the inner group of mystics, who under the guidance of the planetary hierarchy are building the new form. Third, the emanating from the masses who belong to neither group and who are widening force as yet blindly, often unwisely, until such time comes when they recognize those constructive channels into which it can be wisely poured. Hence, the trouble of this transition period, and hence the necessity for giving out of teaching which will enable seeking aspirant and inquirer to find himself. Hence the need for the laws of the soul and the truth as to individual unfoldment to be made clear to those rejecting the old tradition and refusing recognition to the mystic, yet seek to know themselves as liberated souls. With that knowledge will come the steady growth of the building mystic, for when a man has found his soul and recognizes his relationship to its mechanism of expression, the threefold lower man has automatically passes into consciousness of the subjective life, begins to work with cause and no longer lost in the world of effect. Because today we often see the effect, like I mentioned prior, the effect like a disease is the effect, but not looking at the cause or not seeing any cause. But it begins to work with cause and is no longer lost in the worlds of effect, which are still sometimes today. Then he finds himself standing shoulder to shoulder with the mystics and knowers of all time. This is the trend of the really, yeah. And this is the glory of the coming age. So even if we see some kind of troubles or some kind of change in this world, it is the glory of a coming age, that old forms can be brought into new forms. All right. And it's also mentioned that the next generation will have finer bodies, also due to diet, open air, sunshine, and doing much for the race in the next coming 2 generations. Make their appearance of the soul will have far better instrument to work through. That means we're just having our physical body, emotional and mental body as our instruments for the soul to come and work through on this physical incarnation. And it's also mentioned that the new coming generation, they will be more group conscious and less individualistic and selfish. They will be more interested in new ideas than in the ancient theology, and will be freer from prejudice and less intolerant than are the bulk of the well-meaning people of today. Psychology is only just come into its own, and only now its function beginning to be understood. In 100 years' time, however, it will be the dominating science. It's interesting because the mind and our effect of our own thoughts and mind on physical reality is still not common today, and still, so it's great to see there is already a steady evolution to that direction, to be more aware of our own innate capabilities. So the coming 3 generations will bring into incarnation a group of people who will be well equipped to lead humanity out of the present impasse. The fact warrants remembrance and is often forgotten. Therefore are always those at every epoch in human history who are able to solve the problem which arise, and who are sent in for that very purpose. It should also be remembered that the quality of young people now coming into incarnation is steadily getting better and higher. There are many cases abnormal high intelligence, and what you call their IQ is frequently phenomenally high. This will be increasingly the case until young people of 14 will have the equipment and the intelligence of the brilliant college men and women of today. So that's what we still see today, that those young people, they are sensitive, have already a high IQ, and it's the unfolding of our evolution that those new souls come in with high potential for change and adaptation and bringing new forms into this world. All the work done now is definitely transitional work, and therefore most difficult. It infers a bridging process between the old and the new, and would present almost insuperable difficulties, were it not for the fact that the coming two generation will bring in those types of egos and are competent to deal with the problem. That gives us a lot of hope that people are coming in to create change and help evolution move forward and deal with the current world problems we have of today. Disciple can now in a few months, if sincere and honest in their endeavors, master ideas and develop responses which took them years to master in earlier cycles. So I hope that's been insightful in giving you a greater picture of the present state of the world today, that this is an unfolding and bringing in new ideas, new souls that can bring the change for humanity to evolve and pass in a new state. And maybe reflect for yourself where you see yourself fitting in that missions of those different generations, the old, the new, and those still maybe the masses which are still unconscious of all those happenings. But it's time, it's a really important time, and a time where many people can wake up to their own nature and help to bring the change along. And with that, I wish you well and take care.